Imagine stepping onto a bus blind and vulnerable, with only your loyal guide dog to help you navigate the world. And suddenly the driver screams, "No dogs in here!" The passengers freeze, the woman trembles, and humiliation fills the air. But what happened next inside Judge Caprio's courtroom didn't just silence the arrogant driver. It left everyone stunned, and it's a moment you'll never forget. Stop. Only 3% of you are subscribed. If you believe disabled people deserve. No dogs in here. The words echoed like a slap across the crowded bus. A blind woman, clutching her white cane and guided by her loyal service dog, froze in disbelief. She had heard insults before, but never this loud, never this cruel. The driver, a middle-aged man with an arrogant smirk, stood tall at the front of the bus. His voice carried authority, but his tone dripped with disdain. He pointed at the dog as if it were a criminal. Passengers gasped. Some whispered. Others looked away, uncomfortable. But the blind woman, trembling yet dignified, spoke softly. "Sir, this is my guide dog. He helps me live independently. He's not just a pet, he's my eyes." The driver scoffed. "I don't care what he is. No dogs allowed. Get off my bus." Her heart sank. She had fought battles all her life, navigating a world that often forgot about people like her. But this moment felt different. It wasn't just rejection. It was humiliation. And yet, she refused to leave quietly. The blind woman's name was Maria Lopez, a resilient soul who had lost her vision in her 20s due to a rare medical condition. Her guide dog, Buddy, had been her constant companion for years. Together, they had conquered crowded streets, busy intersections, and the loneliness of disability. But now, standing on that bus, Maria faced a choice: surrender to the driver's arrogance or stand up for her rights. Passengers began to murmur. One elderly man shouted, "She has the right to be here. That's a service dog." A young woman pulled out her phone, recording the incident. Maria's voice shook, but her words were firm. "I will not leave. The law protects me." Service dogs are allowed in public transport. The driver's face reddened. He slammed his hand on the steering wheel. "Not on my bus. I make the rules here." That was the breaking point. The passengers erupted. Some demanded the driver let her stay. Others threatened to call the police. Maria, holding Buddy's harness tightly, felt a surge of strength. She knew this wasn't just about her. It was about every disabled person who had ever been silenced, ignored, or pushed aside. And so she filed a complaint. Weeks later, the case landed in the courtroom of Judge Frank Caprio, the beloved judge known for his compassion, fairness, and humanity. The courtroom was packed. Cameras rolled. The story had gone viral, and people across the country waited to see what justice would look like. Maria sat quietly, Buddy at her feet. The driver, arms crossed, looked defiant. He muttered under his breath, clearly annoyed that the incident had escalated this far. Judge Caprio leaned forward, his voice calm but commanding. "Mr. Driver, is it true that you shouted at this woman and ordered her off the bus because of her guide dog?" The driver shrugged. "Yeah, I did. Dogs don't belong on buses. People complain about allergies, fur, mess. I was protecting my passengers." Caprio's eyes narrowed. Protecting your passengers? Or humiliating a woman who depends on her service dog to live her life? The driver smirked. "She could have taken another bus. I don't see the big deal." Gasps filled the courtroom. Maria's hands trembled, but she held her head high. Judge Caprio turned to her gently. "Maria, tell us what happened in your own words." Her voice cracked, but her story was powerful. She described the humiliation, the fear, the way Buddy had been treated like trash. She explained how service dogs weren't pets. They were lifelines. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Caprio leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. For a moment, the courtroom held its breath. Then, in a voice that carried both authority and compassion, he spoke. "Mr. Driver, let me make this crystal clear. Service dogs are not optional. They are essential. They are protected by law. And more importantly, they are protected by decency, by humanity." The driver shifted uncomfortably. Caprio continued, "You didn't just break the law. You broke the dignity of a woman who has already faced more challenges than most of us can imagine. You embarrassed her in public. You made her feel less than human. And that, sir, is unacceptable." The driver tried to interrupt, but Caprio raised his hand. "No, you will listen. This courtroom is not just about punishment. It's about lessons. And today, you will learn one." He ordered the driver to issue a public apology to Maria, not just a quiet sorry, but a heartfelt acknowledgement of his wrongdoing. He also mandated sensitivity training for all bus drivers in the city, ensuring no disabled person would face such humiliation again. Then, in a moment that stunned everyone, Judge Caprio turned to Buddy, the loyal guide dog. He smiled warmly and said, "Buddy, you are the true hero here. Without you, Maria would not have the independence she deserves. This courtroom honors you today." The audience erupted in applause. Maria wept quietly, hugging Buddy. The driver, red-faced and humbled, muttered an apology. But the real victory wasn't in his words. It was in the message Judge Caprio sent the world. Compassion must always triumph over arrogance. The case became a symbol of justice. News outlets covered it. Social media exploded with praise for Judge Caprio's wisdom. People shared the video, calling a lesson in humanity. Maria's life changed too. She received messages of support from strangers across the globe. Advocacy groups reached out, offering her platforms to speak about disability rights. She realized her painful experience had sparked a movement. And Buddy? He became a local celebrity. Children wanted to meet him. Families sent gifts. He was celebrated not just as a dog, but as a symbol of loyalty, courage, and love. Judge Caprio's reaction reminded everyone that laws matter, but compassion matters more. His words echoed beyond the courtroom. Justice is not just about punishment. It's about protecting dignity. It's about reminding us that kindness is the highest law of all. Maria walked out of the courthouse with her head held high. She had faced arrogance, humiliation, and cruelty, but she had also witnessed justice, compassion, and humanity. Her story wasn't just about a bus ride gone wrong. It was about the power of standing up, the importance of empathy, and the reminder that even in the darkest moments, there are people and dogs who light the way.